Hello, folks. Welcome to Paranormal Street TV. I am your host, A.P. I just want to give you guys a heads up right now. I am experiencing some technical difficulties with my camera and my GPU, which is an external device that I connected to my laptop. I have been sitting here for the last 3 hours trying to figure shit out. And then ChatGPT gave me the wrong instructions on some shit. So I am very aggravated right now and pissed off. So if I seem out of sync here and there, it's technical difficulties. I ain't got time. I don't have any more time to waste. I've been sitting down here, no kidding, for 3 hours trying to figure this shit out. So anyway, today's episode, we are going to discuss a lot of the paranormal. You know the drill. I do a couple TikTok videos and then I make my commentary after. But before I jump into the center of discussion, I would like to say a very special thank you to everyone who has been subscribing to TikTok. I know I have like 4 subscribers right now. I really appreciate you guys for that. You know who you are. When I hit about 10 to 15 subscribers, that's when I'm really going to go heavy on doing subscription only lives from time to time. More so than not, you know. So shout out to all of you guys. I really appreciate you for your continuous support. I truly do. I want to also, before I jump into anything here, I want to say congratulations to this creator called The Finance Baddie. The Finance Baddie. Heterosexual woman on TikTok. I felt like it was really important for me to say heterosexual because, you know, as a hyper masculine and masculine presenting woman, it's like I can't even have female friends. People always think like there's something going on, you know, or I'm trying to hit on the person, or me and the person got something going on. It's not even like that. And I don't know her personally. I just came across her content and I just wanted to spread the word to let you guys know you got to check out her content. She spoke about, in a nutshell, she spoke about her experience being 29 and divorcing a year later because she ended up marrying a narcissist. And one of her most recent posts was, I think part 10, she was talking about her narcissistic family unit and her father. A lot of people feel guilty speaking out on narcissistic parents or horrible parents in general because they feel like they owe them something. And if you guys go under part 10, I want you guys to look at 1 all the way to part 10. But if you go to part 10 and you pay attention to the comment section, you would see how many people they have similar experiences. One girl was talking about her parents, I think her mother was forcing her to go back with her abuser. There are a lot of people who ended up in marriages and trapped in marriages just to please the narcissistic parent. And more likely than not, they were not aware that the parent was a narcissist. They were thinking that the parent was looking out for their best interest. So sometimes when you see some of these grandparents with like taking care of grandkids, don't feel sorry for them. They forced their child or coerced their child to have children with a very toxic individual. The baddie, the finance baddie, I want to give her props because she valued herself enough not to have one seed with that idiot. Turned out he was having relations with males. I don't know what he exposed her to, but this has been happening a lot. And then when the woman decides to leave or divorce them, as you know, the rate when it comes to unaliving the female is much higher when they file for divorce or exposed the narcissist. It is crazy out here. The femicide, the increase in femicide, the increase in, oh my God, just the unaliving of women who just want to move on and do better. Another thing I'm observing, I have been gay for a long time. I prefer the same sex, right? And I'm not saying that there've never been attractive lesbians, because that'll be bullshit. But based on what I've been seeing lately, a lot of women are more sexually fluid now. A lot of women are looking for love in other forms. The ones who choose to be true to themselves, they have chosen to explore love in other forms. And the only message I have for individuals or women like the finance baddie is to be very careful moving forward. Don't think because you exposed and discovered this narcissist that you won't come across another. You will come across several more, because you see, they're becoming more skilled with their personality disorder, because there are platforms like TikTok that's exposing them. So the covert narcissists now, they're getting more crafty with their covert behavior. Females as well. Joan the scammers is what I call them. Nothing about them is good, guys. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care about their crocodile tears. They love the elderly because they're able to manipulate those individuals more. They're able to gaslight and fool those individuals more. You think that age would bring wisdom, but they tend to manipulate the elderly more with their lies and their bullshit. Let me tell you something about me. A lot of gay women, they talk crap about bisexuals. And I used to. I'm not going to lie. But based on my experience, I don't care what anybody say. They're, to me, safer to deal with on an emotional level, because they're not hiding. They're going to tell you what they're about. And if they're with you, they're with you. You don't have to deal with no trisexual. Well, you're the only woman I've ever been attracted to. Go. I'm not a game. Don't waste my time. They're not these individuals who somehow use you as a placeholder just for the time being, as they figure themselves out and use you in the process. I prefer bisexual women. I prefer dealing with them. I know what I'm dealing with. As long as they put everything on the table, as long as they disclose what they need to disclose, I am fine. I don't want no heterosexual woman. Stay away from me. Stay there with your husband. Stay there with your man. Stay there with your boyfriend. Stay away from me. Know what you are dealing with. Know who you are before you step to me. Do not waste my time. So shout out to the finance baddie. Go check out that woman. Go check out her page. Salute to her. I don't know who she is. I don't know. Aside from what she shared on her page, she impressed the hell out of me with her transparency. I just love that. You want to be evil? You want to use people? Present yourself as such. Don't mask yourself as something else that you're not. If you guys only knew. Shout out to that woman. I'm very, very proud of her. I'm proud of her more so for not giving that bastard not one seed. And this is not to come down upon the women who have children with narcissists, because that's coming from a deeper place when it comes to self-love and respecting yourself as a person and a human being. Like, I'm seeing a different caliber of women in the gay community. And it doesn't mean that they're gay. They appreciate both sexes, but I want to know the core of that person. Are you honest? That's what I'm about. Don't let us be out nowhere and you in some Negro's face. Respect. You understand? You with me, you with me. And we gonna keep it trucking. I ain't got time for these confused ass, lying ass, deceptive ass females out here. And yes, I'm venting. I've seen my grandmother experience a lot. So the finance baddie, when you see women like that sharing their stories, do you guys understand the help, the power in the stories like this? How much it's going to help other women out there? It's going to help a lot of women because there are a lot of males. Listen, I know there are good men out there, but I'm sorry to say, a lot of y'all are narcissists. I don't know where that came from. I don't know what's going on with that. And again, not saying there aren't female narcissists, because there are. Okay? But when you see women like the finance baddie, it reminds me of my grandmother, women like my grandmother, because she was married to a malignant narcissist, my paternal grandfather. And so women are breaking generational curses by speaking out, filing for divorce, and separating themselves from these types of males. The sad part of it is, when they decide to leave, it increases the risk of them being unalived. So I am just so proud of women like that. And I pray on some real shit that the finance baddie, that she finds a really good man. You understand what I'm saying? I really enjoy bringing you guys content, right? But there are some of these content creators, they make people like me look bad. I'm going to tell you why. I talk about UFOs. I talk about UAPs. I talk about spirits, the paranormal world, because I absolutely believe in different dimensions, right? But there are some people who are under that umbrella and category of content creation, and they fabricate a lot of bullshit. I don't know if it's truly because they're going through some type of psychotic break. And so they make individuals like us who create real content based off of critical thinking, right? And true curiosity. They make us low-key look bad. I don't know how many of you guys saw a clip with a young lady on TikTok, went viral, probably got 1 million likes by now, because the algorithm just seems to love bullshit. And she was talking about how it's the Appalachian Mountain it's called. I don't know if I pronounced it right. About how some tree has been following her or stalking her. A tree, guys. Yes. TREE. The tree that is grounded in soil. The tree that has no legs. The tree that just is minding its business is stalking her. And a lot of people believe her when you look at the comment section. So TikTok and social media as a whole, we have to remember that it definitely, we share the internet with people who are unwell. I understand that some people, they don't believe in the supernatural. They don't believe in UFOs. They don't believe in UAPs. That's fine with me. And they might look at people like me as bizarre. I'm completely fine with that. You know why? Because I know that my mind is healthy, and I know I've taken care of my mental health and continue to, and I know that I stay within the boundaries of something called critical thinking, within the boundaries of critical thinking. I do my best not to go too out of the loop, because that is when you start disconnecting with reality. When you start talking about trees following you, baby, we got a problem, okay? When you start talking about Chipotle having chips in it to monitor us because Chipotle is spelled CHIP, baby, we got a problem. We got a real big problem. So, moving on. One other thing I want to mention that I didn't mention. Remember I told you guys that I had to put King down? I didn't put King down on June the 2nd or 3rd. I put King down on June 24th, a couple weeks ago. I'm relocating, right? I'm in that process. And he was still eating. So the vet was like, all right, once he's still eating, bet, whatever, whatever. He's not in any pain. So I decided to keep him a little longer. So the plan was to bring him to the other location and then put him down there. Man, the week of the 24th, King's back legs, his hind legs completely dropped. And that's when I knew I had to take King to put him down. And somebody like me, right? Like, I would have, tried my best to save him. So let's say he was diabetic. I would have saved him, but he was too old. He was old and he was ready to go. I have him, I had him cremated. So he's in an urn above my bed. And I got his paws, print. And when I was in the room with him before they put him down, King lifted his head, looked up at me, and that was it. And yeah, he's not a human. He wasn't a human being, but he was a soul. And he accompanied me for a very, very long time. He was about 21 years old. And I took very good care of him. So that's my story with my cat King. So I just have two right now, a Maine Coon and an American short hair. And the Maine Coon is diabetic. And I don't know how long he's going to last. But after this, I'm done, guys. Maybe a dog. Maybe. And I like big dogs like German Shepherds and stuff like that. Golden Retrievers and stuff like that. And then I'm done. Losing animals, it's really tough. So yeah, that's that. This was a very long introduction. I think this is the longest introduction ever that I've had on this channel. But let's move on and jump right into the clips. And stand by for my commentary.
Unanswered questions after a 911 call in Pueblo from a funeral home and cemetery. August 11th, just before 3:30 in the morning, the police department communications center got a call that they refer to as abandoned, meaning the other person hung up. So they called back, got an answer, and heard mostly static. An officer was sent out to check out the funeral home and cemetery and says it was locked up and dark with no one in sight.
Hello, 911, this is Erica. How can I help you? Hello? Hello? Hello?
All right, so you guys saw that clip with this 911 call that allegedly came in from a funeral home. So what do you think? Do you think it was simply lines that were crossed? You remember back in the day, you would be in a phone conversation. This was before smartphones, right? And you would be in a phone conversation and you would hear somebody's conversation. You remember those days? So was it one of those situations? Or under that TikToker's comment, right? Somebody wrote, I was a law enforcement officer for 26 years and a deputy coroner. I had hundreds of 911 disconnect calls, but on 2 911 disconnect calls to homes, I found the owners deceased and inside the house. Both had been deceased for several months. Crazy. So you've heard stories like that where somebody called 911. There's even stories about people seeing The individual who was allegedly deceased for several days, they saw the person outside waving at them. Don't know if it's true, but I know with the 911 calls, I've heard those accounts from several individuals. And so it just makes you wonder about the human soul and spirit in general. The name of that content creator, the.paranormal.archives. Let's look at the next clip.
The following video comes from James Fodder, who recently bought a doll from a secondhand store. Apparently, the doll is worth a lot more than what the store was selling it for. For this reason, James had bought the doll. However, ever since bringing it home, strange things have been happening. From hearing strange noises at night, to seeing doors open and close on their own. James suspects that the doll might be responsible for the unusual activity in his house. And so, he decides to record the doll in front of a camera inside an empty room. He hopes to capture footage of something that would prove it's haunted. Initially, nothing odd is captured in the first few days of recording. But then one night, something very strange happens. Now the camera that he uses is programmed to move wherever it picks up movement. So if something moves, it will point to that object. We can see it doing that in this footage. But strangely, the camera pans around the room as though it's picking up movement from somewhere. This is what was captured. Could it be that the camera is detecting an unseen presence? Or is it just not functioning properly? Although it's likely that there's a problem with the camera, something really creepy happens 2 nights later inside the room, which has made him think that the camera was actually picking up something. James is away from home when the following happens. He writes, "Just wow, I've been leaving the closets open in case anyone thinks I'm hiding inside. I don't even know what to say." This is what was captured.
So you saw that clip, right? The question is, when you saw that black thing running across the room, did you think it was a cat or a dog, right? Again, I believe in the existence of other dimensions and so on, but I'm always going to be questioning everything, right? But what's also interesting, as the camera was, all over the place pretty much, if you pay close attention to the footage, you could actually see like an orb or a couple, an orb or two. I think it's safe to say that the doll has a spirit inside of it. I know for a fact I do not mess around with dolls. I was told when I was a little girl, I never liked dolls at all. So, and I do have memories of playing with cars instead of dolls, but dolls always creeped me out. I remembered going to somebody's place one time and she had a collection of dolls. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. That's just not my thing, because for some reason, malevolent spirits, that's their favorite thing to possess aside from a human body. So I would just rather stay away. Let's look at the last clip of this episode.
6 people perished at this infamous amusement park, and their ghosts may still haunt the grounds to this day. New Jersey's Action Park was notorious in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s for its thrilling attractions, and also for its lax safety standards that led to countless injuries and at least a half-dozen fatal accidents. The park closed in 1996, but later reopened under a new name and with a significantly better safety record. Although most of the original Action Park rides are gone, some park employees say that spiritual echoes of its dark past persist. Those who work in the park after hours have reported hearing the faint but unmistakable sounds of laughter, music, and screams around the dark, quiet rides. And at least one visitor has told of seeing the apparition of a man sinking beneath the surface of one of the pools, only to vanish before he can be rescued.
So my question with a story like that would be, the souls who lost their lives tragically there, did they get proper send-offs? You know, like, as much as I cannot stand funerals, if I could avoid a funeral, I absolutely would. Like, seriously, I just can't. It's too triggering in many ways, right? But my question would be, did they send them off correctly? Because you think about how their life was taken, pretty much snatched from them. And so they weren't expecting that, right? And so then you got to wonder, well, are they resting in peace? Hence the term, may they rest in peace, because it appears that not all souls rest in peace, especially when it comes to untimely deaths. They seem to, like I've mentioned before on my TikTok lives and even on here, the human spirit appears to have, or the soul seems to have, like, consciousness. You know, it seems to be conscious, because if it wasn't conscious, how else would you explain it visiting certain places that it once was familiar with? Or how do you explain showing up to a loved one? And I know there are these theories and belief systems from people about familiar spirits, and it's true, because the unseen ones can definitely take on the form of our loved ones to deceive us. But then there's that other tricky side where the human consciousness appears, the human soul and spirit appears to be conscious. And so with this situation here, why is it that, okay, the soul was taken tragically, right? Clearly an accident, but then it's like replaying how it died or how the person died. You know what I mean? So then you got to wonder, are those the unseen ones, the malevolent unseen ones doing that and playing games on us? Or is it really a soul that wasn't laid to rest peacefully? I saw another story on TikTok. I couldn't download it because of her settings, but I'll share it with you. She was talking about her brother. He drowned while they were on vacation years ago. And he drowned while they were on vacation. And when they went on another vacation, it's like her and the father saw the brother taking a dive, something like that. I wish I could have downloaded to show you guys, because it was such an interesting story, and I absolutely believe her. I told you guys, man, like, seeing a spirit alone is one thing, but it really bugs you out and makes you start questioning our very existence and dimension when you experience it with a witness. It's really interesting stuff. So that clip right there, that came from, let me give you the name of the content creator, because you guys know I'm really big on that, at WHWN1190. So that's WHWN1190. I have a couple more videos coming soon with shorter introductions, of course. I'm trying to post a surge of videos This month in particular, because I know next month I'm probably gonna go dark again, and that's that. So yeah, anyway, make sure to subscribe to my TikTok, because again, I'm gonna definitely be making my TikTok lives a little bit more for the subscribers only. But in the meantime, of course, they'll be open to the public. And I also want to welcome the new subscribers on YouTube. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you guys so much. I connected with a couple of you guys who found my TikTok live. So I appreciate y'all. And thank you again for the support. A.P signing off for Paranormal Street TV.